Anyway, I thought I'd share that little door discovery with you, but the real task for today and the foreseeable future is to get this floor out. Whatever else I do or don't do to this car, it's pretty clear that I'm going to have to put a new floor in to replace the double skin that's currently there. And that's going to be challenging. Ideally, I'd want to retain the edges around here so that we can spot weld the new floor through them. But you know, it looks pretty reasonable there, but as you work your way along, you can see that it's a bit ropey in places and then melts into a bit of a disaster up in this corner. Not sure what's going on along the back, so I think the plan at the moment is to get the grinder out, start taking some of this paint off, and see if I can work out where the spot welds are, start removing some of those, and yeah, we'll see where we get to, and I'll show you the results when I get there. Okay folks, so a bit of an update on the floor here. I'm taking my time trying to gradually get this floor or floors out, and I've started on the passenger side and trying to see if I can find out where the mating flange is around here. Now it's kind of, it is there, but then it falls apart in here where there's been some welding that's damaged it. There's absolutely very little left on this section. It's just a mess. And then you get to finally down here where there's a kind of normal piece of flange. So I know there's going to have to be a bit of work when I get this floor out to try and repair that flange before I put a new floor in. But it's been the rotisserie jig has been a godsend, because every 5 minutes I'm flipping it backwards and forwards to look at it from the bottom or the top to try and work out where to drill out the spot welds if I can find them, and because there's been so much welding and messing around, it's actually really difficult to find them, and of course not only are there spot welds, but there are welds that someone else has put in when they've been repairing this floor. One of the mysteries, one of the things that was bugging me and bothering me a bit was this seam here. I don't know if you can see there. Now this floor, if it's original, this floor should be fixed forward here. It should run underneath this cross member, but it's clearly been cut and joined on there. So I kind of wondering what was going on there. On the other side, the flange is a bit better at the back. I'm a bit more optimistic about that. It's a mess. If I can just show you, it's a bit of again, it's a mess along here, and I don't know how much I'll be able to save of that. But it kind of looks like it's the same issue, that the floor has been welded there. Now, why that's confusing me is my understanding, and I'll need to try and see if I can check, and if anybody has any information, then please add something below. When this car was originally built, I assume the floor would have been put on in the way that a replacement floor would now. In other words, it would be put on from the bottom. So why it seems to be on top there is a little bit of a mystery. So if we flip it over, you can see where I've been at. Let me just lock this into position. So this is the section that I've taken out. If you remember, I've taken out this added floor to expose what I thought was the original floor, and there is this weird seam back here as well. And then I've cut back this added floor has been welded onto the floor in a seam there ahead of the cross member, which is good in a sense, because it doesn't matter whether I take that off, because I can cut it back here and take the whole floor out and forget about that join. But you can see the edge of the cross member there, and this floor seems to be welded in on the other side of it, on the inside of that. So I cut this bit back, and it's kind of the same here. This floor does seem to be on the inside in there. But not only that, but if you look, so there's the original cross member. There's this rusty stuff here. So, and that's clearly been, that would have been original floor, and it isn't part of this. So I think we have 3 floors here. I think the original floor is gone and there's a bit left there. I think this replacement floor has been welded in, these panels have been welded in on the inside for whatever reason, and part of the reason might be that at some point this section of the cross member has been replaced. It's very badly welded, and there's a hole in there, so going to need some work there. So it looks like the original floor's come out. This floor has been placed as floor number 2, and then at some point someone has welded these panels on underneath that as well. So looks like I'm dealing with 3 sections of floor. I think this might be part of the original floor, this section at the back. It's clearly been welded here. Someone's bent over the end sections of this rear bulkhead and welded it on there. So I'm kind of thinking I might straighten them back up so that when I put the floor on, I've got a flange to mate that onto, because the back of the floor should has a lip which comes out this way and would normally fix onto that. So yeah, I think I have a feeling, because I'm struggling to find anything to weld to, I'm either going to have to cut right through and just use what I've got here, because obviously there is a flange there, and possibly try and repair that cross member where it's damaged here, or alternatively I might end up having to put a whole new cross member in the whole length, and in some ways that might be the easier solution to the floor. So yeah, there's going to be even less of this car. So I know that the plan at the moment, continue getting this floor out and then get a pretty robust cross bracing in place, because I'm pretty sure these cells are going to have to come off, and we're going to be replacing both cells. So it needs to be properly cross braced before I do that. Anyway, so that's the update. I'll add more when I get further. So when I cut this section of floor out, it took me a long time to try and preserve as much as I could of this flange, and as you can see, I wasn't particularly successful, particularly when you get back here. There's a big gap, so I'm going to have to weld a section on there and fix that. When it comes to the front here, in the end I decided just to cut the floor along there and not try to dig out this, because it's not been spot welded. It's been, who knows how it's been welded on, to be honest. It might be a combination of stuff, but I figured actually if I'm sticking a new floor on, the important thing is the undersurface of that, and so I'm going to come back to that, as I said earlier, grind it out and see what I can do. If I'm going to put new sills in, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to, then all of this is going to go, and this bit at the back is going to be a problem. There's again, that flange is all but gone, so I'm going to have to work out how to cut all that out. This side's not quite so bad. There's certainly more of a flange there. It peters out a bit up in the corner where that section was welded in. This is the bit I'm really worried about though, because this flange is obviously just a mess. So I'm kind of thinking, do I do what I did on the other side and try and free it up, or do I cut a new flange, if you like, cut a section along there and try and grind it flat on the bottom and see if that's good enough to work. I'm tempted to give that a try. This whole triple floor thing's caused a bit of a nightmare, and it may be, as I said earlier, that the answer on this cross member is that I'm going to put a whole new cross member in. This whole question about floors and things, I've been looking back at different panels that I need to buy or whole floors to buy, and looking back at in fact at some of the cars that people have done, and I don't know if any of you have spotted the obvious, because this section of floor here I originally thought might be original, and then realised it had been welded in afterwards. So this is the replacement second floor before they put the flat metal underneath it. But if you look at that, then the ribs in that floor are running front to back, and on the original car and on any panels that you buy, the ribs run transversely across the way. So I come to the conclusion that this section has been cut out of a donor car at some point and then just turned through 90 degrees and welded in just to fill in that hole in the floor. It's the only explanation I can come up with, really, to be honest, to explain why that doesn't look right in terms of the layout of the ribs. So yep, yet another bit of information I'm finding out, but yeah, none of this is going to be easy. I'm at that stage where you're thinking, why did I do this? But I guess everybody goes through that stage. I don't think I'm going to turn back now. I'm going to get the rest of this floor out and then see what I've got to work with. If I haven't got flanges, put a new floor in. If I'm not happy with the metal work, then we get a new cross member, at least a half cross member, maybe the whole cross member if necessary. Hopefully I can resolve this issue here and save those in some way, but if not, then I guess it's a bulkhead repair section. Definitely looks like the only way I'm going to make all this match up is to put new sills in. There's been a bit of a hack job on the footwell side panels to weld them in, so I think maybe this bit was original, this has been replaced. We've lost the kind of normal curve that should be here. The angles are all wrong, so all that's going to be replaced. So yep, big chunk of this car is going to go. But in my head, the bit that's worrying me most is how I preserve this, how I manage to get this welded on. I don't want to end up with a floor that's solid front and back but falling apart in the middle because there's nothing to weld onto. So yeah, if you've got any opinions on that, then post them below. I can take all the advice, I can do with all the advice you can give.